Located in the French Quarter of New Orleans, the LaLaurie Mansion is infamous for its dark history and alleged hauntings. The mansion was owned by Delphine LaLaurie and her husband in the early 19th century. Madame LaLaurie, a prominent New Orleans socialite, is said to have committed heinous acts of torture and cruelty towards her slaves. The mansion's sinister history was uncovered in 1834 after a fire broke out in the residence. When neighbors rushed to help, they discovered a chamber where multiple slaves were brutally tortured and chained. The revelations about the atrocities occurring within the mansion's walls led to LaLaurie fleeing the city. Ever since, the LaLaurie Mansion has been the stuff of legends. Many claim the house is haunted by the tortured spirits of the slaves who suffered there. Over the years, subsequent owners and residents have reported hearing screams, moans, and phantom footsteps, along with experiencing unexplained phenomena. The mansion has changed hands several times and has served various purposes, from a public high school to an apartment complex. Yet, its eerie reputation remains intact, and it continues to be a popular stop for those interested in the haunted history of New Orleans. The following stories are true stories of incidents that have occurred at the LaLaurie Mansion. From the moment I stepped into New Orleans, the weight of its rich and tumultuous history pressed down on me. I had been seeing specters since I was a child, spectral shapes and figures that most others couldn't perceive. It was both a gift and a curse, a secret I held close. The LaLaurie Mansion, with its notorious past, was a site I had avoided on my previous visits. But this time, my curiosity got the best of me. The French Quarter buzzed with life, music floating from every corner. But as I neared the mansion, an eerie silence enveloped the area. The grand building loomed above, its facade tainted with the stories of the atrocities that once occurred within its walls. With a deep breath, I pushed the gate open, the iron cold and resisting beneath my touch. The instant I set foot in the mansion, a shiver cascaded down my spine. I could feel the echoes of the past, the anguish and pain. Whispered voices filled the air, shadows flitted in my peripheral vision. But it was the phantom footsteps that truly unnerved me. They were soft, hesitant, as if someone was exploring the mansion just like I was. I followed them, drawn in by the sounds. As I ventured deeper into the house, the temperature dropped, the atmosphere growing thick with anticipation. And then, distinct and deliberate, I heard footsteps. The sound was jarring in the oppressive silence that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere all at once. My heart raced. It wasn't just another ethereal echo, but felt like a conscious entity acknowledging my presence. Rounding a corner, I entered a large sitting room and decided to hold a séance. Dim light filtered through the grime-covered windows, casting a sepia glow as the light from my candles flickered. Suddenly, a shadow figure manifested before my very eyes. It began at the entrance and made its way to the center of the room, ending abruptly. There was no visible features, just a shadow of a person. I could feel the energy in the room shift, the sorrow of the trapped souls replaced by anger and resentment. A gust of wind blew through the room, extinguishing the candles, and darkness enveloped me. I could feel spirits begin to manifest. I could hear their whispered stories, their desperate pleas for release. Overwhelmed, I stumbled back, trying to escape the room. But every door I tried was locked, trapping me inside with the angered spirits. As fear threatened to consume me, a gentle hand touched my shoulder. Turning around, I briefly saw a ghostly woman dressed in all white. With a sad smile, she pointed towards a window. "Go," she urged. With newfound strength, I made my way to the window, pushing it open and climbing out into the safety of the courtyard. The oppressive atmosphere of the mansion was replaced by the lively sounds of the French Quarter. The experience inside was surreal, a bridge between two worlds. The LaLaurie Mansion was a testament to the weight of unresolved history, and though I was grateful for the encounter, I knew I'd never step foot inside again. It was our last day in New Orleans, and my friends and I wanted to do something daring, something memorable. "Why not visit the infamous LaLaurie Mansion?" suggested Claire, her eyes twinkling with mischief. We all agreed, excitement and trepidation mounting in equal measure. As evening set in, we found ourselves standing outside the grand but decaying mansion. Its tall windows gazed vacantly at us, like empty eye sockets of a skull. "It doesn't look so scary," Mark laughed nervously, trying to lighten the mood. We entered hesitantly, our torchlights piercing through the darkness. Each room we explored was adorned with remnants of a bygone era: dust-laden furniture, cracked paintings, and aged drapery. But it was the atmosphere that was palpable, a heavy, pressing silence, punctuated occasionally by the distant murmurs of the city outside. In one room, we found an old, out-of-tune piano. Claire, always the bravest of the group, started playing a few random notes. The discordant sound echoed strangely, filling the room with an eerie resonance. We chuckled at her antics, but our laughter died abruptly when the piano responded, with notes of its own, long after Claire had lifted her fingers. Chills raced down my spine. "It's just an old piano, probably some mechanism malfunctioning," Mark tried to rationalize, but his voice wavered. Moving on, we stumbled upon a sitting room. Elise, ever the dancer, began twirling, her laughter echoing in the vast emptiness. But as she danced, the room grew colder. Our flashlights started flickering, and from the far end, we heard the distinct sound of footsteps moving towards us. It was slow, deliberate, and unmistakably human. Frozen in place, we could feel the weight of unseen eyes upon us. The temperature continued to drop, and our breaths became visible, misting in the air despite the balmy New Orleans night outside. Mark's flashlight suddenly went out, followed by Claire's, leaving us in almost total darkness. "We need to leave. Now," I whispered, the urgency clear in my voice. As we hastily retraced our steps, the unseen presence grew more oppressive. Doors slammed shut around us, trapping us in a maze of shadows. The air grew thick, charged with an electricity that made the hairs on our necks stand on end. The sense of being watched was undeniable. As we walked away, the relief was palpable. The mansion loomed behind us, an enigma of unseen horrors. We had entered for a thrill, a fun dare among friends, but what we encountered was beyond any of our wildest fears. The LaLaurie Mansion, it seemed, had its ways of ensuring its dark history was never forgotten, even if it meant scaring away a few adventurous souls. Thank you for journeying with us into the realm of the unknown tonight. If you felt a shiver down your spine and want to dive deeper into the world of true horror, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. It's the best way to ensure you never miss out on our spine-tingling tales. Until next time, remember, the scariest stories are the ones that are true. Sleep tight, brave souls.